Hello guys, how are you doing all out there? So I have made this tutorial for those who want to join the central government services. Well, everybody wants to do job in the government sectors like central government, state government and local authorities. But most of us always confused about the various processes involved in the selection of the candidate for the government sectors. So it's very much important to know which are the examination you should give and which are the agencies conduct the various kinds of examination for the post in the government sectors and what are the eligibility criteria for that examination. So in this session, I will be discussing about the agencies which are act as a recruiter for the central government. I will be taking this session only for the central government recruiters. So before starting the session, let me disclaim that this video is only for the informative and educational purpose and do not guarantee any job. So guys, let's get started. So as I said, there are many ways in which you can enter in the central government services, but I'll be discussing about the six major ways in which you can enter in the central government services. Let me take one by one. The first one is of course Union Public Service Commission, that is UPSC. Second one is Staff Selection Commission, that is SSC. The third one is Railway Recruitment Board, that is RRB. And fourth one is banking and insurance. I will be discuss further in this session that which are the agencies conduct the examination for the banking and insurance sector. The fourth one is armed forces, that is Army, Navy and Air Force. And fifth one is public sector units which are owned partially or wholly by the central government or state government or both central or state government. So before moving on, let me state that these are the major recruiters of the central government, and these three, that is banking, insurance and armed forces and public sector units, are the sectors owned by the central government. But I will be discuss the agencies which recruit the personnel for the banking, insurance, armed forces and public sector units. So let's move further on the Public Service Commission. So this is the first agency, which is the very much main agency or major agency which conducts the examination for the different types of top level post in the government sector. The Union Public Service Commission is India's leading central government agency that conducts the many examination that recruits the officer and staff in the various services of the central government. The UPSC is perhaps most known for the civil service examination that conducts every year, but it also holds many other exams. So let me take one by one the examination which are conducted by the UPSC. So first one is the very one of the toughest examination in India to enter in the central government services, that is civil service examination. This is the exam through which officers of the Indian civil service are recruited. The services include IAS, IPS, IFS, IRS, IDAS, IIS. For the civil service examination, the candidate must at least be a graduate to be eligible for the examination. Let me take the second examination which is conducted by the UPSC, that is engineering service examination. This exam recruits officer into the Indian engineering services, that is IES. An IES officer function in very technical areas like road, railways, manufacturing, power, etc. He or she must be an engineering graduate to qualify the examination. So moving on to the third examination which is conducted by UPSC, that is combined defense service examination. This exam recruits people into the Indian Military Academy, Indian Naval Force, Indian Air Force Academy and the Officers Training Academy. These are the academies where the candidates are selected for these academies, and from these academies the officers are recruited in the main armed forces. So this exam held twice a year and only unmarried graduates are permitted to take the exams. Moving on further, the next examination which is conducted by the UPSC, that is combined medical service examination. This exam is for recruitment into the various services such as Indian Ordnance Factory Services and Indian Railways under the Indian government as medical officers. For this examination, the candidate must be a qualified doctor. So the next examination which is conducted by the UPSC, that is Indian Economic Services and Indian Statistical Services. This exam recruits grade 4 officers into the Indian Economic and Statistical Services. Now the next examination which is conducted by the UPSC, that is Indian Forest Service exam. This exam is for recruitment as the Indian Forest Service officer. Here the prelims are is the same as the civil service exam, but the main exam is different from the civil service exam. The next exam is conducted by the UPSC, that is combined geoscientist and geologist examination. Well, this exam recruits people into the Geological Survey of India as geologist and chemist. This exam is also for the hydrogeologist post in the Central Groundwater Board. So, moving on the next exam, that is National Defense Academy examination. This exam is conducted by the UPSC twice a year for the candidate to gain entry in the National Defense Academy. The candidate must be a 12th pass out and unmarried to be eligible for this examination. Guys, these are the various types of examination which conduct the UPSC as a recruiter for the central government. Moving on to the next agency, which is SSC, that is Staff Selection Commission, which recruit the candidates for the non-gazetted post, that is Group B and C, which includes technical and non-technical post. So, moving on to the exams conducted by the SSC, that is the first examination which is conducted by the SSC. Before moving on the examinations, let me tell you about some facts about the SSC. SSC is an organization under the administrative control of the central government in order to take care of the recruitment in various government departments. It has a task to carry out recruitment for Group B and Group C non-gazetted post, that is technical and non-technical, for the central government department as well as the various autonomous departments. The SSC exams are one of the biggest recruitment drive carried out in India because of the fascination of the getting government jobs in the youth of the nation. Every year, lakhs of the candidates appear in the examination. And there are very popular examination which I am going to state here. The most popular exam conducted by the SSC is the Combined Graduate Level Examination, or CGL. It is conducted every year for the graduate to recruit in the various non-technical post for the Group B and Group C in the central government. The post for which the large number of vacancies exist through graduate level are assistant grade, auditor, inspector of income tax, central excise tax inspector, sub inspector in central police organization, that is BSF, CRPF, CISF, ITBP, SSB. These are the police organizations, and the CBI and the upper divisional clerk and the divisional accountant in the central government sectors. Moving on to the next examination which is conducted by the SSC, that is Combined Higher Secondary Level Examination. This is another popular examination of SSC to recruit basically lower division clerk and data entry operators in the various government department. The minimum qualification required for this examination is the candidate should have passed at least a 12th examination. The next examination which is conducted by the SSC is multitasking staff, that is MTS examination. This exam is to recruit subordinate staff in the various central government department as well as organization. The basic qualification required is the candidate should have passed the matriculation examination or equivalent from the recognized board. Moving on to the next examination, that is junior engineering examination. SSC recruits in technical grades of Group B through this examination. This recruitment is done for the engineers in the Central Water Commission, Department of Post, Central Public Works Department, and Military Engineering Services, etc. So, moving on to the next examination, that is a stenographer examination for the grade C and grade D. This recruitment is carried out by the SSC for the recruiting stenographers in the various central government offices as well as attached subordinate offices. The minimum qualification required is the candidate should have passed the 12th examination and the stenographer skills, which includes typing and all. Moving on to the next examination, that is constable general duty examination. SSC recruits constable through this open competitive exam in forces such as BSF, ITBP, Assam Rifles, Central Reserve Police Force, Seema Suraksha Bal, National Investigation Agency, etc. Candidate should pass first the physical examination, and then he will qualify for the written examination. The minimum eligibility is matriculation for this examination. Moving on to the next examination, that is sub inspector in Delhi Police and CAPF, that is Central Armed Police Force, and ASI and CISF, that is Assistant Sub Inspector in CISF, Central Industrial Security Force. SSC conduct this examination in order to select personnel for various police organizations of the country, such as Delhi Police, Central Armed Police Force, Central Industrial Security Force, Border Security Force, IDBP, etc. Moving on to the next examination, which is conducted by the SSC, that is Junior Hindi Translator in Subordinate Offices in Ministry of Defense, etc. An open competitive examination is conducted every year by the SSC to recruit translators in various organizations of the government. A graduate or a postgraduate with Hindi or English is required for this post. However, for the Hindi Pradhyapak in Central Hindi Training Institute, experience is also mandatory for this examination. Apart from all these regular examination, SSC often comes up with the various advertisements for the number of posts throughout the year. So that's all for the SSC. Let me move further on the RRB, that is Railway Recruitment Board. Let me first tell you about something. Railway Recruitment Board recruits for the personnel for Indian Railways, that is comes under the Ministry of Railways. The examination conducted by Railway Recruitment Board is National Thermal Power Corporation, that is NTPC examination. It is a public sector unit, but the examination conducted via RRB. So moving on to the next examination, that is Assistant Loco Pilot examination. Assistant loco pilots are the trained loco pilots which operates the trains, for which the RRB take examination for this post. Moving on to the next examination, that is Assistant Station Master. This is also conducted by the RRB. The next examination is Goods Guard. The goods guard are in charge of cargo trains and trained for working as a caretaker of a goods train. So the minimum qualifications required for this is a degree from any recognized university or its equivalent. So moving on to the next examination, that is inquiry cum reservation clerk and ticket checker. This is very famous examination in the railway sector. RRB conduct the examination many times for the inquiry cum reservation clerk and TC. The next examination which is conducted by the RRB is traffic assistants, which control or assist traffic of railways. Next examination is Railway Protection Force, that is RPF. The Railway Protection Police Force is a security force of India entrusted with the protecting railway passengers area and railway property of the Indian Railways. So the force is commonly referred as RPF, that is Railway Protection Force. The force is under the authority of Ministry of Railways, and the strength RPF is about 65,000. RPF is headed by the Director General, who is Indian Public Service Officer. So the next examination which is conducted by the RRB is Junior Railway Engineer. Actually, the Junior Railway Engineer works as a supervisor in the Civil Engineering Department of Railways. He is also called the Inspector of Work. He will be in charge in the construction maintenance of the railways buildings, include water supply of these buildings and encroachment of the railways lands, etc. So moving on to the next agency which conduct the examination for banking and insurance functioning under the central government of India. So there are two sectors which are banking and insurance. So let me give you a brief introduction about the Indian banking structure. First of all, there is a Reserve Bank of India, which is a supreme monetary and banking authority in the country and which controls the banking system in India. It is also called a banker's bank. It is called the Reserve Bank as it keeps all the reserves of all the commercial banks. The commercial banks include public sector bank, private sector bank, foreign sector bank, and regional rural bank. So I'll be talking about the public sector bank and regional rural bank. The agency which recruit the personnel for the public sector bank and regional rural bank is Institute of Banking Personnel Services. So let me tell you about the role of the IBPS in Indian banking sector. The IBPS is an autonomous body which recruits young and talented candidates for the several banks and organizations, and it also provide the services like consultancy services to all public sector bank and associates bank of SBI and NABARD and a few cooperative banks. IBPS is not a government body, but it's an autonomous body, and it is an primary organization in the field of employment testing and selection assessment and management of human resources. Most of the staff members to be worked in the public sector bank and SBI are recruited by the IBPS, and post includes office assistant, clerical grade, or single window operator, provisionary officer, and management training and HR specialist officers, etc. All these posts are filled by the Institute of Banking Personal Services in banking as well as insurance sector. So currently the insurance sector is a nationalized sector in India. The major insurance providers are LIC and GIC, that is General Insurance Corporation and LIC Insurance Corporation. As I said, the various types of main exams, and that is Group A and Group B, is conducted by IBPS, and the C and D level post examination is conducted by their respective authorities, that is LIC and GIC. Moving on to the next sector, that is armed forces, which includes Indian Army, Indian Navy, and Indian Air Force. The post of commission officers in these organizations are filled by the UPSC. As I said, there are various types of exams which conducted by the UPSC for the post of top level officers in the various sectors, which also includes armed forces, and the post of technical branches, women special entries, and non-technical branches, that is accounts departments or administration departments, is directly filled by the directorates. For more of information, you can also visit the three given websites of the respective forces. Moving on to the next and last sector, that is public sector units. that is PSU. PSU are companies or organization which are wholly or partially owned by the central government or state government, or both central or state government. For the post of chairman, managing director, and chairman come managing director level 1, and functional director level 2, or any other post specified by the government of India, are filled by the Public Enterprises Selection Board. Let me tell you about the Public Enterprises Selection Board. The Public Enterprises Selection Board is a high powered body constituted by the Government of India, which has set up with the objective of evolving a sound managerial policy for the central public service enterprises, and in particular to advise Government of India on appointments of their top level managements. Uh, so it is also responsible for the selection of these posts. For any other post in PSU like technical, non-technical, and managerial and secretarial, these PSU conducts their own respective examinations. You can visit on the website of these PSUs and take the informations about the various types of vacancies. So that's all for this session, guys. I will upload the tutorials for the exams, eligibility criteria, selection procedures, which also includes the exam syllabus uh, for each and every exam conducted by a particular agency, which I have mentioned in this session. So in order to get the notification of my further videos, do subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for more updates from my channel. So I hope you found this video useful. Do share with your needy friends, and I will meet you in the next video. Till then, stay strong, guys.